When the Jews were first in Leicester, I'm not absolutely sure, I'm not a historian, but they were expelled in the Middle Ages by that well-known man Simon de Montfort, who is, Simon de Montfort is in fact one of the worst anti-Semites in history, but is in fact honoured and remembered because of De Montfort University, De Montfort Hall, De Montfort Street, you name it, and the clock tower. As if he was one of, he's not exactly the most favourite person of the Jewish community because he was responsible for expelling the Jews.
Not just from Leicester, but from all of England.
Because he was quite a powerful man, wasn't he? 70s, the community expanded with a lot of professional people, mainly doctors, because the hospital, the Royal, became a teaching school. Medical school, and attracted a lot of Jewish doctors, and they've made a significant contribution, if you like. Most of the schools now in Leicester are having to concentrate on comparative religions, and so we do get visits from school children. We have a group of what we call ambassadors, a bit like Leicester College with the different faiths, but we have about half a dozen ambassadors who give talks to schools, usually in the synagogue. Not just schools, but groups. I mean, we've had judges, we've had members of different Catholic organisations, adult organisations, and professions. We had medical students last week who come as part of their course. I've had police recruits coming as part of they do through St Philip's faith awareness, and they come to the synagogue. When you think about it, we are all believe in doing good and becoming more spiritual, and I think that's basically the love of all religions. So really, there are so many similarities, and we celebrate the differences. We have at Hanukkah in the town hall where we have the menorah, which the Lord Mayor lights, and we do. And that seems to be a much better way of mingling with people because there's no service. But the civic service was something that happened year after year after year. And I can remember the Lord Mayor's secretary, previous Lord Mayor's secretary, whose name was Sidney Smith, one very much of the old school. And he wouldn't have let us do anything different because he loved it. We used to have a tea in the common hall afterwards, but it was very important, and it still is important, and we try to make it as inclusive as possible.
I wanted also to say or ask something about Holocaust Memorial Day, because this is an event that's being commemorated annually now,
yes,
nationally, but also very strongly in Leicester,
yes,
where there's a very well supported event in January, towards the end of January.
And since the government introduced this National Day on the 27th of January, I mean, I've been involved probably the last 5 or 6 years in organising. We are very focused on making sure that the lessons of the Nazi Holocaust are not forgotten, and that we learn from history. I was going to say that the lessons are that the atrocities there should not be repeated. Unfortunately, genocide is continuing even today.
What does our community bring to Leicester? But what would go from Leicester if our community disappeared overnight? If all, tomorrow we woke up, there was no Hindu community in Leicester, you'd all gone off to somewhere else. What would change about Leicester?
30 years ago in Leicester, it wouldn't have been a normal thing for people to go out for a curry, for an Indian meal. Now, I mean, the number of people going out for Indian meals at the weekend or in the week is incredible. So, that's another big contribution that the Hindu community has made.
Now. It's
So I went to say, Patricia Elliott in her speech, she says the British national food is no longer fish and chips. It's curry now.
Yes,
it's a national dish.
I've seen from 72 the Ugandan Asians who came, and how the city council put a notice saying, please don't come, there is no room, But still, we were there, And I brought my sister, you know, I didn't want her staying in the camp, you know, so I brought her here to Leicester, and she stayed with me for a while and then moved on. So we all helped each other, and through sheer effort and hard work, they transformed, we've seen they've transformed Melton Road through self-help, not depending on the state, you know, at all, because through sheer hard work in this country, you get rewards, you know. Since 1970, you know, the Hindus have come in and they have changed, you know, the indigenous people who thought, you know, they're going to take away our jobs and they're going to, you know, but, you know, the way the hospitality, you know, how hospitable the Hindus are, how they want to share, you know, starting maybe good neighborliness, sharing samosas. Oh, they like samosas, we'll give them. Every time they make, they'll give them, you know, good neighborliness. And they've changed the thinking of the people in the Leicester area.
The Jewish community is, you know, contributes an enormous amount, particularly given its size, but it's largely quiet, subtle, sometimes undiscovered. The Hindu community, much larger, of course, and its contribution to the public life of the city is much more visible, unavoidable in some
We have brought a very different,
colourful, you know, noisy with the music on the streets and such like.
We brought a very different perspective, you know, from the spiritual point of view.
The difficulty is, I think, with all faith groups and all communities, not necessarily faith communities, because we've got so many different communities from all over the world here in Leicester, which is part of Leicester's attraction and uniqueness. There is a tendency to be a little bit isolated and to stay within what is familiar and what is known, and not to look outside. But there are quite a few people in all communities and in all faiths who are involved in the Council of Faiths, for example, and in looking outwards and are wanting to rub shoulders and find out all about other communities and other faiths and beliefs. But I think that the majority of people in all the faiths prefer to stay within their own boundaries. And that's what we are working towards, bringing more and more people into this area where we work together.
From the spiritual point of view, and that is that life is fun, enjoy, and God in the center, very important, don't forget that. God in the center, but do everything, you know, and enjoy life, you know, be happy, you know, because through happiness you can find God more easily.